Welcome to Around the House Quick Cuts, and we have a special edition today. A lot of people struggle with cutting molding, so I've got two experts, got Chuck Shoop and Marc Dulsky from the RoMac Building Supply Door Plant, and they're going to show us how to make proper inside molding cuts and proper outside molding cuts. Plus, they're going to give us a little advice on coping clear molding. So it's going to be a great show with some great tips. So if you're one of these people, they're always trying to put moldings and you can't hit it right, you're going to listen from two experts. So Chuck, let's talk about the first cut Marc's going to do for us today.
Okay, the first cut he's going to do is an outside miter on a crown molding. That would be if you're coming up to a wall and a wall this way, you want your crown to come up and turn. That will be an outside miter, and he's able to do that on the miter saw. And basically what you do is you turn your molding upside down.
Wow.
And then you make a right and a left hand cut, and it'll come back and the two pieces will come together. We'll let Marc make those two cuts, and then we'll be able to show what it looks like when he's through. As you can see, he's turning the molding upside down. This is the bottom of the crown here. And he'll make a left hand and a right hand cut. We may want to step out of the way there, Don.
Now let's see how close we are.
The two pieces would come together. As you can see, they'd come together. This is your wall. This top piece here is your ceiling, and the back angle is your wall. So that would be 90 degrees down. It would come together. You would always turn it upside down, like that, and then make your right and left hand cut. That'll give you outside miters.
And what do you put it on the degree?
45 degrees if your wall is a 90. You would go on, if you're coming up and turning 90 degrees, be a 45 each direction here to create a 90 degree piece here where it would follow your wall.
Let's talk about inside cuts. So Chuck, we've learned about an outside cut. Now let's talk about doing inside cuts.
Okay, we have two different types of inside cuts. You can just do a miter to where the pieces will butt together, and then you can do a cope cut. Cope cuts work best when you're doing clear molding and if your walls are not square, because one lays over the other, and we'll show you that can move back and forth and follow the wall without the miter joint opening up. So the first one we'll do will just be a simple inside miter.
And one tip, if you do a cut and you see that the molding is not meeting correctly after you nail it in, sometimes you can shim it a little bit, but most of the time it's because the wall is out, correct?
The wall is out, and if you dry fit, push them in the corner, and if you're really open in the front, you set your saw over. You got many degrees on there that you can change it infinitely. You can take a little bit more off the back, the tip of it, and it'll come around. Or if the back's open and the front's hitting, you can take more off the front.
So Chuck, are you going to set your miter box at 45 degrees?
We're going to set the miter at 45, assuming our wall is square. And the molding will still be cut upside down like we did with the outside, but we'll be doing inside miters. And you'll see the difference when he makes the cut, that here we produce long points, and now we're going to produce short points on the front.
Okay.
So this will be away at the front, and the long point will be on the back side here, and you'll see it when Marc makes the cuts.
Let us see then.
Go ahead, Marc, and set up for an inside miter.
Okay, that's one side.
If you notice, he's just turning the opposite direction, 45 degrees, so that he can produce the other half of that cut. And then, of course, these will come together like that. Again, that's our ceiling right here. This is our wall. So it would come together like that and produce the inside cut on that. What's ironic is that when you do a cope cut, this is the exact same cut that you produce first, and then that line between your raw wood and your primed here, that line right there, that's actually the cope line that you cut. So actually, Mark, you could go ahead and cope one of these and then put it into the square. There's a specialty saw called a coping saw, very tiny blade, very thin, and if you look at it, lots of room in here. This gets turned all kinds of angles during this coping process, and he is going to follow this line that's between these two. In this particular case, we have a white and a raw, but that line would be the one that would be followed, and then he back cuts it so that this long point gets cut backwards, so there's nothing in the way for that to lay on top of the other piece, and we'll show that as soon as he gets that.
Okay, and Mark, why don't we set up and we'll show that cut. We've got Mark set up and he's about to demonstrate to us how to properly cope a piece of molding, and it's fantastic.
Mark just finished doing that cope cut, so now we can bring it together as an inside miter. It'll roll in. You'll see this edge here will lay into that edge there. The big advantage is you can see that that stays together, whether that wall is 90 degrees or 85 degrees. That's a big plus in coping rather than doing the inside miter where it could show a gap. It also, on clear moldings, looks a whole lot better to be coped than just the inside miter. So we've done the coping, the inside miter, and the outside miter on crown, all for 90-degree walls.
And most homes look so much better if you have crown molding in the house. Chuck and Mark, thank you for giving this great demonstration and these great tips. And be sure to go to aroundthehouse.tv for more great tips for your house. Until next time, we will see you around the house.